Let's take a look at a small, very niche boutique brand that you probably haven't heard of. It's a very small manufacturer out of, I think, Austria.
Yeah. Not a lot of people know about it.
No,
They have to be really in the know.
Yeah.
Really in the know.
They're
Follow
fairly
gun media
collectible,
closely.
but their pattern doesn't have a lot of variation. I think that's why a lot of these little treasures slip through. You know, you don't tend to see them very often.
And there are some treasures. We're joking around, but what we're talking about are some treasures.
And
lesser known Glock treasures. Yeah, we're talking about Glock.
And not, every time I say Glock collectors, because I think it's an interesting,
Right.
I think they will appreciate in value over time.
Right.
I think they're very underappreciated now, and I'm talking like 80 to 100 years. So not 10 years
Which
from now.
will be within your lifespan.
Yeah. But
I'll be
people-
dust, but
every time-
you'll be reviewing in TMP at
Yeah.
that point alone.
I say collectible Glock, and for some reason people go, yeah, the one from the Georgia Olympics. And I still don't know what that is. It's got like a roll mark or something.
Yeah.
No, but some of their lineup you don't see. We see the standard stuff. Most people see the 19, the 34, the 17. Maybe
Talk
a
about the earlier
21.
Glocks and what's happened with the early Glocks. Like if you can get a virgin Gen 1, Gen 2 Glock, it's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're bucks.
If you can get the
They're going
Tupperware,
up.
the little Tupperware container from a Gen 1. Very, very exclusive.
It gets in your blood, though, because you just love them. You can shoot them well. They're reliable. They last and last and last. And something weird happens. It's like you just want to collect other variations. Say a comment if you're like that.
And they really,
Even though they're basically the same.
they almost made and defined the whole category. They made that initial recipe.
Right.
The Glock 17 has been so imitated and duplicated, mostly by the class-leading titan of industry we know as the Smith & Wesson Sigma. As we know,
Come on,
it
Sigma.
defeated Glock
You beat
in
up
that
on
lawsuit.
Sigma?
And
Yeah.
yeah, if only we could live in a world where Glock was the major brand everyone knows, and not Smith & Wesson Sigma. The only brand any of us carry.
He's being sarcastic. If you don't know Tactical Doodle, he's hilarious. Glocks are Glocks. They're awesome. We love them. It was one of the pistols we launched the Nut and Fancy project with. As TD is pointing out right now, it's amazing they still hold their own with the amazing competition. The CZ P10C just comes to mind. Grab it. It's right over there on the studio right. Now, it's not that we're like Glock myopic here. We are not. I mean, this gun is insane. The P10F is insane, as in reliable, accurate, soft shooting, in some ways better than a Glock. I've said as much in my CZ P10C reviews. Maybe I break out an F review, just an add-on. That would be fun. But I wouldn't say this gun is copying Glock, but it's a polymer, higher capacity 9mm. Like you mentioned, Glock broke the ground, right?
Yeah, I think the recipe is going to be seen as a historic turning point, and we kind of...
I think it already is.
It's so close that a lot of us don't notice it yet.
Yeah.
In time, they'll go, dude, that was a big turn. We went from steel frame to poly, double stack.
And as I've discussed here on Tabletop before, there was a huge pushback in that generation of shooters when Glocks came out. It was not widely accepted.
Oh, yeah.
1911 guys hated it. It got a lot of negative press. But excellence is excellence. I've always taught my boys that. It's like you don't really have to be political in your professional life. Suck up to your instructor, your professor in college. Just be good.
Yeah.
Pull down some GPA, because that speaks for itself. And all that stuff paid off. And that's how I got a regular commission in the Air Force. Speaking of which, I followed Dad's footsteps. Here's your grandfather's F100 Super Sabre, 1/72nd scale, coming out of the Aviation Museum on tabletop for decoration, and an F100 Vietnam era patch. Cool. So he was Air Force too, and he taught me that. He's like, hey man, you don't really have to suck up to people. Just be good at what you do, like Glock.
And it did. It's kind of funny because I remember people talking about Glock's marketing. I don't like them. I don't like the way they do business. Whatever. Their product's good though, right? Well, yeah. And I think it's kind of funny to see SIG kind of beating them at their own game when they go for contracts with each other now. SIG's getting real aggressive with their pricing.
Unassailable excellence is a huge cup of shut the hell up.
Yeah.
And that's what Glock has had. And when it got into law enforcement, and proved itself there, and in some military circles proved itself there, and in the hands of millions of civilian users, the story is written in stone. So Glock is Glock. It's awesome. We love it. You know about all the
major players
in the Glock lineup, right? G19, G17, Glock 42, Glock 43. Yeah, we're not talking about any of those here. No.
That's the cool part.
We're not talking about any of that here.
Because those are, they make them constantly.
Right.
Round the clock production. Sometimes they have some small batch manufacture.
From the boutique supplier out of Austria.
Gaston, we need more slides. I just picture a little Geppetto hand sawing a long slide.
We're not talking about the popular Glocks. No, we're going to talk about lesser known Glock. Get ready for it.
Long slides.
You know what they are. Maybe you know what they are.
I really want the terminology hardballer to take hold. Is
like an AMT hardballer? Isn't that what Schwarzenegger used?
Schwarzenegger carried one. It would be a cool slang to use for a longer slide, like a 6+ inch variation.
Hardballer.
Because it's something, when you say hardballer, people go, oh, okay, a long slide 1911.
I wonder if I can get your mom to call me that.
Yeah, you probably could.
I'll work on it. We'll get back to you on that. Hardballer. So we're going to be reviewing some lesser known hardballers, according to TD. By way of introduction, on the table, you see what? A 10mm Glock 20 TMP gun coming out of an active system. It is wearing a TLR3 and a very cool FDE Duracoat job done by myself. This was one of the review guns we did, in 2012?
Yeah. Right when Gen 4 came out.
Yeah, so we did a lot of Glock work in 2012 here in the project. We talked about the Glock 22, Glock 17 Gen 4, and then we did a separate breakout of the Glock 20. Years later, I did an update video with the Glock 29. So there has been a lot of exposure in TMP on the 10mm cartridge. We absolutely love 10mm. Let's have just a moment of reverence for that. Okay, moment's done. We thought... Okay, that's enough reverence. We thought at the time 10mm was kind of going away.
Yeah.
It was not popular. You couldn't find it on the ammo shelves. And so we really wanted to push it as a great cartridge, an all-around defensive cartridge, a hunting cartridge. And so during that time frame, 2012, 2013, and then with the Glock 29, it was like push, push, push. Don't forget the 10mm. And by the way, your best platform probably is the Glock. Big surprise. Soft shooting, great capacity, 15 rounds of 10mm. I called my review 10,000 foot-pounds of stopping power. Great bear gun. We kind of, we focused on that because it's interesting. A very rare POU, but we focused on it. So 10mm, you bet. We love it. It's great to see this come raging back in popularity as far as we can tell. And here comes the Glock 22. The poor, neglected police pistol. I think most Glock 22s are getting retired out of departments, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're going to 9s?
And that's part of the bonus. Because I'll tell you right now, I got some buddies that have been buying 40s. Specifically.
Used cop guns.
Yeah. Used cop guns. It's a great way to get into the cartridge.
Yes. And into the platform if you don't have a gun.
Yeah.
I saw a Glock 22. It wasn't recent. It was probably 6 months ago. It was like $325. It was a police turn-in. And it had wear on it. Yeah. But I picked it up and looked in the bore. It looked awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked warm, but really cool. I know you love that stuff, right?
It's got barbecue sauce in the crevices, but other than that, it hasn't been used much.
Sauce. So the Glock 22, of course, is in 40 cal. By the way, this is another Streamlight. This is a TLR4 with a laser light combination. It has hot on it because this is a loaded gun coming out of an active system. As usual, no matter what the status of the gun, we treat it with respect. Yeah, so we love the Glock 22 still. And some people may think that that's an anomaly in the project because I'm a huge fan of 9mm for its SAWC-ness.
Yeah.
It's just so size efficient. You carry more rounds for the same weight. My only complaint really against the 40 and the 10mm for that matter is that they're heavier. They're fatter. So you have fewer rounds. You're going to carry fewer if you're in a man-portable system. But if you're not going that far, you want something that hits hard, that's proven to be a good man-stopper, albeit it's still an underpowered handgun cartridge, 40 Smith & Wesson.
Boom.
40 Smith & Wesson. Let's see what we have here in the Nut and Fancy silo as one of our defensive choices. Oh, What do you know? It looks like a 165 grain gold dot. Look at that gaping hollow point.
Look at how squat that thing is.
That is sick. 40 Smith & Wesson. Yeah, we still like it. And it's in active systems, obviously. But we're not talking about this one. These are the service pistol variations of where we are eventually going. Hang in there. Where we're eventually going, we're going to talk about the long slides. But to ground the discussion, both of these guns can do everything the other guns we're going to show you can do. But there are some small advantages, maybe big advantages, depending on your point of view of these other Glock
Long slides.
that the service pistol doesn't have. That's what we're talking about. That's why you're still watching. And then we have a Jesse Hemphill. Do you know what knife this is, Doodle?
No idea.
Okay, I'm going to keep you in
The
suspense.
carved gargan.
We'll keep you in suspense. I'll tell you before the video ends, I promise. And then we have a deep blue Master 1000 Gen 2. Look at this one.
Very cool.
Super Luminova. See-through case back on the Gen 2s. Really strong, stable silicone strap. It'll be sitting on over here. On we go with the gun reviews. And bye-bye, Glock 20 and Glock 22. Make way for the lesser-known Glock.
Long slides.
Now, the first one is probably going to be somewhat anticlimactic because I think y'all do know about this gun. If you don't, you've been living in a cave. What do you think, TD?
I forgot it existed until I saw it.
What?
Yeah.
Are you being serious with me?
Yeah, it's not really something I really saw. If you hear the number, it sounds made up.
Are you being totally serious with me?
If I said I just bought a brand new Glock 62, what would you think?
I don't know that one. There are some numbers that do take me by surprise, but the Glock 35 should not be one of those. 40 Smith & Wesson, Glock 35. It's like a Glock 34 just in 40 Smith & Wesson. But here's the deal. People have forgotten about this gun. And I don't know if it's tied into the lagging popularity of 40 Smith & Wesson, because I think Glock 34s still sell like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They fly. I mean, talking to my associated gun stores, Gunny's, the great American gun stores, Handgun Haven up in Salt Lake City, they tell me, yeah, Glock 34s sell all day. No problem. 35s, not so much. I mean, you'll see a 35 sometimes sit around and guys will think, oh, what's that? Oh, 40 Smith & Wesson, I don't want that. We're here to tell you, you should probably reconsider that purchase because, like we said, 40 Smith & Wesson is a great cartridge. Doodle, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Especially now.
Tell them.
It's usually going to be the last one in stock.
So we're filming this during the scamdemic, during the rioting, the civil unrest, and I don't know when we'll post this video. Maybe it's next year and something completely different has happened. We can't predict the future, but right now, 9mm is very hard to find.
Yeah. And it went fast. It
Way fast.
Way back in probably February.
Totally.
We started noticing it disappear, and by March it was all gone. But
Right.
40 was still around, and 40 lasted months longer than that.
There you go. So that is a valid reason in and of itself to get a 40, but if I don't have obstacles to go through, like glass, like metal, I kind of like 40 a little bit better than 9mm. I can't believe I said that.
Awesome.
If SAWC is not critical, if I'm in a man-portable system, sniper pistol, all the stuff I've talked about through the years, then I'll take 9, thank you, because I'm carrying it. But if I'm jumping out of a car, I'll take a 40, thank you. That's a big cartridge.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather have 10mm, but right now we're focusing on 40. So what do you get with this versus a Glock 22? So we showed you the Glock 22, right? Labeled hot. This one. This is what you get. You just get a little bit longer slide, a little bit longer barrel, right? So the Glock 35 has a 5.3 inch barrel, longer, has a longer sight radius, which is awesome, 7.5 inches on a Glock 35, 34. And incidentally, my Glock 34 video, I did say in that tabletop review, hey, this will function for a Glock 35.
Yeah.
And so you can dig in there and you can find out all the details if you want. We're just kind of skimming over them right here and reminding you why this is a cool option. You have an extended slide release out of box.
I love that.
And this is an early Gen 3, y'all, which we absolutely prefer in TMP. And we're going to tell you why as we go along here. And you're going to be super duper duper jealous. Good trigger in it, standard Glock handguard. We don't mind the finger grooves. TD says he prefers them.
Yeah, they fit me.
Yeah. I put decal grip on here just because I had it in inventory and I slapped it on. The traction on early Gen 3s ain't great. Generally, you'll benefit from doing something on it. Single slot pick rail, not pick rail, but accessory rail, chamfered. Normally, you'll get the polymer sights with it, and you can see we pitched those. Here comes a little downside with this version. Now, these are wearing on top, what sights are these? LPA adjustable sights is what I end up buying for these. They're good. They're really good sights. I didn't want to put them on though, but this thing was shooting so off.
Really?
Yeah, I either had to do a higher front sight or go full adjustable.
Wow.
So I decided to go full adjustable in case we ever can it up. And so that's what you see. And I actually love these sights on here. Now your Glock 35 might shoot right on. You just have to shoot it with your ammo that you have and find out. If not, you might go on a hunting expedition to get it regulated properly. Incidentally, getting back to the Glock 29 10mm review, that also shot really high. And I mentioned it. It's like I've seen a lot of these 40 and 10mm Glocks not shoot point of aim, not even close. Even with full adjustment. I know you're thinking like, well, did you adjust rear sight? Yes, I ran out of adjustment. You'll see on our paper, I wrote some notes on it. So that might be a downside of you getting this because I've seen it be kind of a consistent theme through all the gens that I fired.
Weird.
It is weird. But on the upside, this to me is more of a longer range pistol. And that's where we want you to focus. It's going to be higher velocity. Both the guns we're going to show you. They're going to have a little bit more feet per second, maybe up to 100 or so, depending on the load and the barrel length. The one we're going to show you in 10mm's longer. And with that, I think you can engage out to 100 yards. Right? It's a big chunk of metal in the 40 Smith & Wesson and a 10mm, so you're going to have more drop.
Yeah.
And you'd have to compensate, you have to practice. But I think of these as, what'd you call them? Hardballers?
Hardballers. And I would label this as a short hardballer.
Yeah.
This is only a hardballer in comparison to standard. Because if I remember right, the 34, 35 were made to mimic the dimension. Yeah,
correct.
Slide dimensions of a 1911.
Yeah. So a 1911's had that barrel length all along.
So it's probably got to be a bit longer than this to be a colloquial hardballer.
Good point, TD. Good point. I like what you're bringing to the table. Oh yeah, long slide 40. I like the longer sight radius.
I love it.
Now, this is not an optics ready platform. This particular early third gen, of course. We might show you one that is, though.
They are coming soon.
Yeah.
The MOS series is now out.
Yeah. So an MOS Glock 35 would be excellent. Now, guys always ask me about red dots. Hey, should I put a red dot on the pistol? I say for a carry gun, don't bother. I say for anything within 25 yards, don't bother. It's more complexity. It can fail you. The battery can pop out as it's happened to us.
Yep.
Right? It's just Murphy's Law. But if you want an extended engagement envelope, ooh, I like that terminology, which I think these longer slide Glocks offer, and I said that in the Glock 34 review, you might consider it.
So I guess that would be triple E for that. That's another acronym he just invented. Extended Engagement Envelope.
There you go, triple E.
Also known as...
Okay, enough of that. They probably quit watching already.
They're sitting there going...
I like that, dude. Extended engagement envelope. But I'm being serious. That's what it is. This takes it to the next level. Easily out to 50 yards, albeit, like we said, with the standard service guns or service size guns, you can easily do that. And we've been showing it on camera forever. Now, here's the thing that we love about the early third gens, especially when you get to a longer slide, longer barrel Glock. Forgotten ones. Look at this, dudes. TD, you remember?
Love it.
This hollow here has no ribs. Look at this. So it is ready for an endo tactical brace, and it has no occlusions whatsoever in here. See that? So hold up that fourth gen Glock 20 right there, and we'll show you by way of reference. If you don't know what we're talking about, it slides in that hollow, and you can actually put a legal pistol brace on. But look at that one. That's a Gen 4, so they put those stupid ribs in there, and you have to carefully chisel them out, and you can ruin your whole gun. We have chiseled them out before on other guns, and we have not ruined them, but it is difficult. Yeah. That's one reason we're so stoked on this. And by the way, I really want that gun. Cool. Even though it's in 40 Smith. For that reason, it's longer slide, and 40 Smith is still a great cartridge. There you go. The Glock 35, consider it, and don't ever discount the 40.
Here's the rumor mill.
Go.
If I remember right, they are still going to keep making Gen 3s.
Mm-hmm.
For 9 and 40, they're moving away from Gen 4 in favor of Gen 5.
Ooh.
So if you are a nerd and you're trying to find something that may be a bit rarer in time, Gen 4 has actually had a somewhat short production run in comparison to the rest of them. So for now, I think they still have 35 40s in the catalog, but not sure how much longer that'll last.
Here's the deal, too. And the Glock experts online would know a lot more about this than I do, but I don't think these are produced all the time. I think the factory will churn out 34, 35s, done. Then a span of time passes and they do it again. And the extra long slide versions, those are rarer still.
Yeah.
You just don't see them that often. And since we're sharing rumors, here's another rumor. Glocks are going to become very hard to buy in the future. That and raw materials are becoming hard to source for the factory, and labor problems with COVID. So you may see Glocks going way up in price, and may have already happened by the time this video breaks. And very hard to get because they are experiencing what a lot of manufacturers are experiencing: labor problems and supply problems.
Have you ever thought you would hear the day when they go, I just don't have any brass or aluminum or steel?
So here we are. So you TMPers who have your Glocks already, well done, well done, well done. By the way, if you're wondering, I've been keeping him in suspense. This is a Jesse Hemphill Town Creek 1.
I was really close, in all fairness.
Yeah, it's A2 steel. It's a fantastic U.S. production knife. As far as I know, Jesse makes them in his shop in Escanaba, Michigan. Look at that handle. Almost bushcrafty in nature. Okay, on to the 10mm version. Now, like we said, this is basically a Glock 34. It is. It's just in 40. This other one you've never seen on tabletop. I've never even mentioned it. In the Glock 20 video, I didn't mention it. Have you ever seen the long slide Glock 40, y'all?
Check that out.
Riding a Burris Fastfire 3 red dot. This is the MOS version. This, my friends, in 10mm, is basically a carbine replacement.
Yep.
That's how I think of this gun right here. This is a carbine replacement. The barrel length on this sucker, on this Mamma Jamma in 10mm, is 6 inches.
Now that's what I call a hardballer.
Again, I'm going to be working on your mom with that terminology. And it's still not that heavy. If I'm remembering right, I put it on my scale, 35.5 ounces for this gun. 35.5 ounces. That's not too bad. I think that was before the mount, before the red dot. And that Glock 35 right there, show it to him real quick. I forgot to tell y'all, it's only 27.6 ounces. Throw it on scale. Little bit off, 28.2. Nice.
Dude, same hole. Show it.
35.8 ounces. I was just a little bit off. And that's with the red dot. Right?
Totally.
That is pretty darn lightweight for a 10mm combat pistol. Amazing. This is the Glock 40. Have you ever even heard of it? It's a long slide version of the Glock.
This is as close as I could imagine for a present-day future sidearm. I feel like the Space Navy in the year 2120 would likely be using this if they weren't caseless already.
This is a gun that can do pretty much everything except maybe concealed carry. I don't know if I'd concealed carry a Glock 40. How about you, TD?
I think you actually have before, right?
No, the 20. The 20,
yeah.
Not a 40, not this long slide. This one right here, I put this in a Galco holster and call it good. Yeah, this one carries well. I mean, it's fat.
You just need long armpits.
Don't we all? And by the way, the width on these is going to be the same. So we're going to measure it in inches here. I've got my handy dandy measuring tool. 1.1 inches in width for the Glock 20, and this should be identical, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 1.1 inches. And it's still 35.5 ounces with the red dot. TD.
Boom.
Holy cow. Okay, here's another thing. We said they have multiple advantages. We have mentioned the ballistic advantage out of the longer barrels. We can't give you a specific number because, again, it depends on the load you're shooting, and which gun you're shooting. This has a slightly shorter barrel at 5.3 inches, the Glock 35. But it's going to be something. You're going to get a more complete powder burn with a lot of loads, especially full power loads, especially with 10mm, something like a buffalo bore.
Smoking.
That is literally smoking.
It's like shooting a marble into a bear.
With high velocity. You want that longer barrel. This thing hits hard, but it doesn't feel like it when you shoot it.
Yeah.
Tell them how it is to shoot the Glock 40 10mm long slide.
Much softer than you would expect.
It
It's
is
got enough
pussy.
mass coming back towards you that really by the time you're back locked up and ready to go, you're already back on target.
Yeah, it is really soft shooting. So is the Glock 20, and we said that, but this is like its own creature, and that's another reason I love the Glock long slides, and to include the 34 again. They're softer shooting. They got a longer sight radius. In the Glock 40, it's 8.3 inches without the red dot. Again, this one was 7.5 inches. If you run with irons, that sight radius is advantageous. Just ask any 1911 aficionado, right?
Yep.
Now, we went with a red dot on this. Just like we talked about in that short POU discussion, this is why. We want to be able to engage at longer distances with this pistol, let's just say out to 100 yards. Okay, with 10mm. Can you do it? Oh yeah. Can you do it with iron sights? Sure you can, but it's a lot harder. It's a lot easier with this. You'd have to practice, know what your drop is at that altitude, at that range, but you could. Now the Burris Fast Fire is just one of many great red dot sights you can put on your pistols. I've been with Burris. They're tiny, tiny red dots for a long time. I have some on rifles, so I just went with a Burris Fast Fire. We'll put a link below to this one. None of these are super inexpensive though.
Yeah, it blows me away how they somehow are still hundreds of dollars.
They're expensive. Here's your turn on button right here, the red dot. I've always said you need to practice with these red dots a lot because it takes a little bit to find the dot sometimes. I've shot a few of them, not all of them, and this one seems like it's pretty easy to acquire. You shot it. What do you think?
Yeah. It works pretty well. It takes practice that I think a lot of people don't expect because everyone's just kind of got a different style. Some people like floating the dot directly over. I found I had an easier time doing it when I almost used these.
Really?
I
You were like
pretended
using your irons too?
I was pretending I was co-witnessing and using that as a base to find the dot right off, and that seemed to be a little bit quicker.
Interesting.
But I'd have to put down a couple hundred more rounds that you'd pay for. And I bet you I could get pretty good after that.
It's all about training.
You're just going to have
If you're going to train
a lot of ammo.
Yeah, if you're going to train a lot with 10mm, you might want to start reloading.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is pricey. That's a big downside, of course, of shooting 10mm. Now, the Glock 40 does come with an MOS plate kit. MOS stands for Modular Optic System. You can buy it separately if you lose yours from Glock for only $20.
That's cool.
And what you need to do, though, is find a red dot that interfaces with their plates. It doesn't go to every plate. Because there's screws on the underside of this that are machined specifically for that style of sight. You can look up online what red dot sights share the same pattern.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to run a fast fire, and I forget which one it has the same pattern of, and it works great. So here we have a Glock 10mm long slide with a red dot sight. Does it get any better?
It's excellent.
It is freaking excellent.
The only way it gets better is with a brace. And
right.
A laser, or a lamb, is the cool kids call it.
Well, put a weapon light on, and maybe like a Balder Pro from Olight. So it has an integrated laser and light. There's the ribs. So if we were to brace this gun, it would be a problem. Because it's a 4th gen. 4th gen. I do love the magazine release on the 4th gen, though.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. Extended slide release already. I'm not changing anything about these triggers if I were to own them. How about you?
I've left mine bone stock forever.
And like the 40 Smith & Wesson, 40 Smith & Wesson version, 15 rounds here in the magazine.
It's pretty smoking.
Yeah.
There are aftermarkets available too, up to
right.
I want to say 29.
Magazine extensions that you can do, and they're reliable from what I know. There we go. There we go. Now we're set. They're hard to find. Maybe not the Glock 35. You're going to see that much more available. But a Glock 40, I can count on one hand the times I've seen it in any gun store. And now with what's going on,
Yeah.
Probably harder still. Now, the sad part of this video is it's going to get the word out on the Glock 40 and the Glock 35, and maybe it will create more demand, and so now it's going to be even worse. You're welcome.
Sorry.
That sucks.
Sorry, dude.
But camp out on an auction site, you know, any secondhand site, scour them, look at your gun shelves if you have a need for it. Now, undoubtedly, someone would say, hey, if you had to choose between a Glock 20 without the optics plate, and I'm just talking about the 10mm right now, or a Glock 40, which one would you choose? TD, which one would you, if you could only have one, would you have this one or that one?
Definitely that.
Really?
Because
describe your thinking. What are you thinking?
This is already a full-size pistol for me. I don't really have much of a chance concealing this on my slender frame. Might as well go whole hog, give me as much power as possible. It's not a big difference. You're a lot taller than me, so you can actually hide this under. It's
a hard answer for me, but I would go with the Glock 20. By a very slim margin, because this span, like you just mentioned, I can conceal it in a shoulder rig for me and my body style. But man, it's very slim. This, to me, they're both go-to-war thumbs up weapons for us. This one a little bit more so. This seems like a freaking tactical carbine you're holding in your hand.
Why do you think the Space Navy issues it? It's the only way we can fight the space ghouls and save Mars.
The Glock 35, also a tremendous choice. It's lighter and snappier in firing, which takes us to how did they shoot. Did you like firing this one, the Glock 35, as much as that one, or was there a difference?
Wasn't much difference.
That's not what I remember. I remember there was a lot of snappiness when you were shooting that one, and you said as much.
Honestly, until you just mentioned that right now, I forgot I had ever even shot this.
That's Tactical Doodle, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Take it from me, there is a difference between these two guns, and it's exactly the opposite of what you would think. This is snappier than that. Is it the weight difference?
So much.
Did you hate it?
I still don't remember.
Oh my gosh, I'm probably showing the footage of you shooting it.
Yeah.
This is really smooth shooting. It's heavier, but it's a more powerful cartridge. The 40 Smith & Wesson Glock 35 is snappy. I don't know what the heck it is. It's much more so than the Glock 34. Now, there's other aftermarket things you could do. You could put some weight up here. You could put a different recoil in. They have those special recoil rod assemblies you can put in to mitigate recoil. I think Brass Stacker has some.
I remember now. We were firing some spicier ammo out of this, though, weren't we?
It was full power.
That HP blue tips.
Yeah, it was full power. So we were shooting some hollow points out of these. In fact, almost all the shooting we did out of both of these guns is hollow points. This is how accurate they are. Here's a Glock 40. This is standing in the freaking desert before the red dot. Look
at that.
10 yards. Smooth, a fave, accurate, stock trigger, sights verified.
Take that, space ghouls.
Look at that grip, dude. Look.
That's awesome.
Glock 40. This is that longer sight radius I'm talking about. Remember, it's a 8.3 sight radius. Here's Glock 40 10mm, 11 yards standing in the desert. We got to go fast because I shot these guns way too much. We probably spent $500 in ammunition for this tabletop. That's pretty dumb, nothing. Real smooth, excellent. I mean, I can't say anything bad about it. Oh, yeah, I can. Here we go. Point of aim was right here. So for this round of shooting, it was shooting kind of high right. And I was tweaking the sights, in case you're wondering, with the adjustable sights. You're like, why didn't you adjust the sights? I was. A lot of this is adjusting the sights. Look at this group, by the way. Look at that, dude. Glock 35. Huh. He forgets he shot it, but here's his target.
Yeah, look at that.
That's you, dude. So that is 10 yards, Tactical Doodle, and an indoor range. That's a flyer, but most of your rounds are right here.
That does look
like
my
that,
signature.
dude. That's a great group you got out of that.
That's cool.
This one's good. That one. These are all really good groups for 10 yards. That's insane. He doesn't practice as much as he should. TD, and I always get on him for it, and he doesn't change. This is normally what he's shooting. So that's a 10-yard group. Or you didn't write a distance. I don't know how far that was. Here's some groups for you. Kind of typical. Those aren't overly impressive, but they're okay.
I'm a good indicator of average shooting skill.
Glock 35, indoors 10 yards. That's a great group right there. I gave myself a down arrow, and there we are, 180 grain jacket hollow point. Mixed 40 loads is what we're shooting. Good, good. Not awesome. I probably shouldn't have up arrowed that. Adjustable sights, and we were tweaking them. these LPA metal sights. That's a Glock 40. And then that was a 35. One more on the Glock 40. I told you we shot it way too much. Look, dude.
Check that out.
That's this gun right here. And this is with the red dot, in case you're wondering. You'll see in the indoor shooting footage that it's with a red dot. And I'll tell you, it's awesome shooting with a red dot. Nothing fancy, you said red dots suck. No, I didn't. I said for your carry pistol, don't waste your time. Just learn how to shoot.
So they suck. Explain to me why the U.S. Marshals are using a staccato STI with a fast fire on it?
Look at this group right here. Dude. All right, so the answer and how they shot is outstandingly, really accurate, super reliable, no jams of any kind that I can remember. They're Glocks. Get them while you can. And don't discount the 40. That's another message in this forgotten long slide video. Don't blow off the 40. It is excellent. You might be able to find the ammo. It hits hard. It is bigger, harder to carry. You know, you won't have as many rounds for the same amount of weight. It's maybe not quite as good in obstacle defeating purposes as a 9mm, but I still love it.
Plus, it sounds so much cooler when you talk about it.
I carry a 40.
Yeah.
Our favorite between the two is obviously the 10mm. The 10mm is probably my favorite overall handgun cartridge, and I will take it whenever I freaking can. And I'll tell you what, and I'm being dead serious, I'll take this long slide as my pistol option whenever I freaking can. How about you, Tactical Doodle?
Totally.
There you go. It is a Glock review video, feature length more or less. Thanks for clicking on the video, sticking with our weird sense of humor, and supporting us through all these years. Clap to you. Clap to you. Thanks to TD for being here. Thanks to my TMP donors for keeping the project rolling after all these years. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep your fingers crossed for the future, what's coming in this nation. And pray, pray, pray. Thank you.
Do in between. That's awesome.
You want one of those, don't you? Would you go to war with that gun?
Yeah.
Absolutely, huh?
Thing's badass, and it's full velocity out of that long barrel.
Yeah.